continuity lapses, cringe-worthy performances, silly monsters and laughable set pieces. Time Out magazine. Obnoxiously loud and busy, it drips with goo and slime and contains an exhausting amount of action, funny voices and snot jokes. New York Daily News. Lively, colourful, violent, stupid. Christian Science Monitor. Noisy and meant for children only. A bored grown-up's only consolation is that the Rangers' popularity has probably peaked, and the next kiddie phenomenon must be on its way. Don't even think about what it will cost you. The New York Times.
Hello!
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman. Oh boy, what were those?
They were reviews of the classic masterpiece.
Wow.
The Mighty Morphing Power Rangers.
It's a tongue twister. We are your hosts of upNXT. We host a show every Thursday on postwrestling.com, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. But today, we are not here to talk about wrestling. We are here to talk about the 1995 classic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. And we thought we couldn't do this alone, David. So we brought in a friend. We brought in our Green Ranger. We brought in Scrump.
The Dick Druid.
Bang, bang, what is up, guys?
Hello, all the way from Chicago. Now, Scrump, you are an employee of ProWrestlingTees.com.
Correct.
Is that like the cheap plug? Is that the cheap plug you can instantly throw there?
Yeah, sure. Don't order anything now from Pro Wrestling Tees. If you want to get it by Christmas, you definitely won't.
Right.
But yeah, I am currently here at Pro Wrestling Tees in the Pro Wrestling Tees offices right now recording this.
Yes, because we're professionals and we do it over Skype when we don't live in the same city. We're in Toronto, you're in Chicago, and we're all Power Ranger nerds.
Oh yeah, of course.
We all love Power Rangers.
Yeah, you guys saw a picture of my giant Funko Pop Power Ranger collection.
You're a nerd.
I feel it goes probably Scrump's 1, you're 2, I'm 3. I was a huge nerd in the day, but I think my nerd license lapsed like a good 15 years ago.
Yeah, I have a Rangers Morpher. I have the Morpher with the power coins. It's in my closet. I didn't want to pull it out for this show. I just couldn't find it. But I feel like Scrump is the biggest Rangers nerd there is here.
I think I've mentioned before on the show I had the original Megazord, but someone stole the Mastodon, so I couldn't connect it all together.
Wow.
And I had that blue guy. What was the blue guy's name? He wasn't in this film.
Oh, right, like the monster.
Gorilla monkey.
Yeah, he's shit.
Yeah, I had him.
Yeah, I've actually got the original. For like a birthday a year or two ago, someone gave me the original Megazord, and I found out that the one they gave me is worth like $200 or something, which I was like, why would you ever spend that much money? Like, don't, But I did go into a vintage toy store around here. I moved into a newer neighborhood earlier in the summer, and exploring, I found like a vintage toy store, and they had one of the Megazords from Power Rangers in Space, I want to say it is.
Yeah.
When they go in space, it was like the blue Megazord that my parents just would never buy me. So I went in, saw that, bought it. It was probably way more than it would have been back in, 99?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
From Space Power Rangers? Yeah, there was Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Power Rangers in Space, because I remember that season being relatively, like, darker than the other ones.
Right.
And they kind of just, like, bringing everything full circles. But that Megazord, I remember I walked into the store, bought that, and I also got a Goldar action figure.
Oh, the best villain there is.
I feel shopping for toys is not what it used to be. Like, if you want, like, original stuff, like the hot thing at the moment. I remember when the Megazord first came out, my mum searched for weeks and weeks.
Yes.
She was phoning Toys R Us every week to see if they were in stock. Now you just order it on Amazon and it arrives when it arrives.
Yeah.
Like Furbies, I remember when Furbies were a thing, and it was on the news that, like, all these Furbies are selling out everywhere and everyone's going crazy because they won't get one in time for Christmas. Now, yeah, you just log online, you're like, I want a Furby, and you get it. So it's kind of trying to track down these old toys is almost like how it was back in the day.
Yeah, because I have that. I mean, I have a nephew now. He's about to be 7, and the thing with him is, I'm like, hey, dude, what do you want for your birthday? And he might as well just send me a link to whatever it is that he wants, because it's everything's online.
Yeah.
If he wants something, it's not like I can say, let's go to a toy store and find this. This specific toy store doesn't have it. Let's go down the street to the other one. It's like there's Target.
We don't even have Target here. We don't even have you guys don't even have Toys R Us anymore.
No, wait, you guys don't have a Target?
We don't have Target. They tried to come to Canada and they didn't do a good job, so they left. That tail behind their legs. But Dave was right. You can just buy everything. I remember a few years ago, it was my buddy who was going through this Power Rangers retro. Like, we would go over to his house, watch wrestling, and then when wrestling went over, we'd watch Power Rangers, just to pass time. And he eventually went and bought like a new Megazord, a new Morpher. So then one day we were at a convention. I was like, you know what? I'll spend $30 on a Morpher. Why not? It's probably worth like $100 now. But toys are definitely a reasoning behind this whole like Saban empire here.
Yeah, I mean,
what shitty shows can we make that can make toys out of that kids would buy?
It's crazy though, that New York Times review, which was like, hopefully this is the end. I mean, sure, this probably was the peak. I think it was still pretty popular when Turbo came out.
Right.
But this show's still going.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is still on TV. Kids are still watching it. I feel this and Pokemon has something pretty cool because it's bringing in new fans, it's bringing new kids watching it, but then there is that nostalgic element where people are like, this is still going? Like, people still buy Pokemon games and stuff because they loved it as a kid and they're like, oh, actually, it's pretty fun. So, like, credit to them. Like, they've managed to keep it going for 23 years now, over.
Yeah. And if you follow Jason David Frank on anything, like, every other month he's doing some new Ranger thing. Like,
yeah, he always is.
Also, the week he's on Monday Night Raw is the week we record this, which coincidence? But he's always working on something, and it is crazy because there's this convention out here in Chicago called.
You're right. He is crazy.
Yeah. I think me and Braden, we got our fair share of crazy JDF stories, but. The convention, there's a C2E2 over here. It's like our bigger Comic-Con one. We typically work that here at the shop with CM Punk, and in the last few years, they've had older Rangers there, and these people's lines are they're always big. Obviously Jason David Franks is the biggest, but
Tommy,
everyone if they were a Ranger, massive line. Massive line, people just nonstop, and it's adults, it's kids, it's everyone. It's people that grew up on it, and then people, introducing their kids to it, which is cool. I know I've definitely tried to get my nephew into it, but he's more of a kid that if it's just not constant, things blowing up, and
that's exactly what Power Rangers is.
But these newer ones, though, they seem to like kind of stray. Like the older one, it's more cheesy because it was a lot of just they used old footage of the Japanese ones. But these newer ones, they just don't catch his attention. I've tried watching them with him, and I'm like, yeah, dude, this sucks. Let's put on,
the green candle.
Let's put on the green candle and watch this,
So I was 6 when this film came out. You guys, you're a couple of years younger than me. You'd have been, 4? You're both the same age.
I didn't see this movie in theaters. Right. I definitely saw it when it came out, VHS.
Did you see this in the theaters, Scrump?
My parents say they took me. But I would have been 2 years old, so I know my dad. There's no way he would have taken me at 2. They insist that they did take me to see this, but there's no way Papa Scrump would have taken a 2-year-old me
to see
the movies.
To see Ivan Ooze.
I recall going to see Turbo.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw Turbo.
I don't think Turbo was released in theaters in the UK.
Wow.
I think it was a straight to VHS thing. Damn. Because I had that, but I definitely didn't see it in the theater.
Rewatching this now, I feel like Turbo's the better movie.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like everyone's always said the other way, but I feel like that's more nostalgia because I sat through this movie, which also, first of all, could not find it anywhere. I couldn't purchase it. I couldn't rent it anywhere. It wasn't streaming anywhere. So I had to watch a poor quality YouTube version with Indonesian subtitles.
Nice.
Which, I mean, it was still fine. I've seen this movie, a million times. I knew everything that was going to happen, so it didn't really bother me. But yeah, definitely watching it again, I feel like Turbo is the better movie.
Well, maybe we'll get into that review down the line, but right now we're here to read this.
Little bit of trivia. So this came out June 30th, 1995.
Okay.
What was number one in the theaters in the US going into this release?
This movie, I don't know. What do you
95?
mean? What does the movie beat
The
out?
week before this was released, what was number one?
Jurassic Park.
No, Jurassic Park was 93.
That was 93.
Something Disney.
Yeah.
Lion King.
It was close. It was Pocahontas.
Wow.
It was number one the week before. And then the week after, Power Rangers didn't knock off Pocahontas in the number one spot. It was Apollo 13.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that just gives you a bit of sense of the time period we're looking at here.
Wow. 3 legendary movies.
Oh. Yeah, see, another thing that when researching the movie, just because afterwards, I know we talked about how it's just at its core, it was so cheesy and so over the top. Apparently, the director of the movie has never even seen Power Rangers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What I saw was just they essentially just did a quick, hey, here's a few episodes, and he was like, all right, I got the gist of what it is, and
it's teenagers with attitude.
Yeah, teenagers with attitude.
How did you get into wrestling and Power Rangers? It's essentially the same shit. It's fake fighting. It looks way cooler in Japan, and sometimes things explode.
So, see, growing up, I did not get into wrestling until 2004.
Yeah, I didn't get into wrestling until I was older.
Yeah, and that was 100% because of Eddie Guerrero. I specifically remember my sister and I, looking for something to watch. Eddie Guerrero was on an episode of SmackDown, just being an Eddie, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And, after that, I was all in, because growing up, I was definitely that kid who was just like, it's fake, right? One of my earliest memories was one of my best friends, Martin. He and another kid in our class talking about Rey Mysterio having just debuted. And I was like, Rey Mysterio, that's a stupid name. I'm sure he's a stupid wrestler. And then you fast forward, a few years later, he's winning the Rumble. And I'm like, oh, I love you, Rey. Yes.
And now you're a mark.
Yeah, now I'm here. Now I'm all about it.
Because I always remember people, you couldn't watch, you shouldn't watch wrestling because it's violence. So then you try to watch something else that's fun. You could watch Power Rangers, also violent.
Tom and Jerry, violent. Kids' entertainment is violent.
Yeah, we just want to see people get smacked around and shit blow up, essentially. Pokemon's not that violent.
No,
it's like little monsters. It's still weird. It's
animals fighting against each other.
It's like a ring of monsters.
I see. A few years ago, they did. It was called Pokemon Red and Blue, which was just a very very different anime style of the old Pokemon cartoon. It was maybe 10 episodes. But in the first episode, they show you realistically what it is when two Pokemon fight, and it's just them biting at each other's necks, and you're just like, oh my god, I've been making these cute little animals do this entire time. It was as close to animated dog fighting that you get.
That's terrible.
I was just like, oh god, I've been doing this since I was a child, and making these poor Pokemon, just beat the shit out of each other.
Now, you work at Pro Wrestling Tees. Is there any wrestlers? Basically, they sell T-shirts regarding wrestling and everything revolving wrestlers. But is there any Power Ranger shirts? Any wrestlers that have knockoffs of Rangers or use Rangers fonts or parodies or anything that revolves? Because Xavier Woods used to dress like a fucking Power Ranger. His outfit used to be a Black Ranger. So
I don't think so. For some reason, there hasn't been like you said, Xavier Woods is probably the only person who's done a big, Power Rangers wrestling crossover. But no, I mean, as far as parody, everything gets parodied here except I think for that Power Rangers. I've not.
It's hard to find the font, is what I've learned.
Is it?
I'm not a professional designer, but I try to be.
You know what? There is a Johnny Gargano shirt that says Johnny Wrestling in the Power Rangers font. That is one that I know off the top of my head.
Nice.
But I think he might be the only one. And, Johnny Gargano's a
nerd.
Self-proclaimed, Power Ranger nerd. So that makes sense. He's got a lot of those parody shirts.
I know a guy here in Toronto who's actually used to be really close friends with Xavier Woods. They used to wrestle in the indies all around before Xavier got signed. And he is even bigger, and he wrestles. He's a pretty body guy, but he goes to all the Dragon Cons and Power Cons or whatever cons these Power Rangers. But he travels year round, working out, going to the gym with the current Power Rangers, former Power Rangers, and all these nerdy things. Power Rangers, I don't even know. Like you said, they're still making Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And there's actors in there who are people who moved to California to be famous, and then well, I'm not that good, so I'm gonna get ripped and be a Power Ranger. So it's that's what you do to make money, and it's just interesting that it's very similar to wrestling. These guys are oh, I'm athletic and can do my own stunts. Okay, what can I do? Can I be an athlete, or can I be a pretend athlete?
Well, even to having the cameos, I was looking up because it's been so many years since I watched this film. I was oh, it's a different yellow, black, and red Ranger. I knew they changed it at some point. I didn't in my memory, sort of my altered memory over all this time. I figured it was the original
original cast,
and then so I looked up the Yellow Ranger. She appeared in 2 episodes last year. Aisha.
Yeah.
And that's very much wrestling, nostalgia. Bring back the old guys. That's what they keep bringing.
It's like
ago.
Tommy. It's like Tommy's Brock Lesnar because they never let him fucking go.
It's these new kids will never get over as Rangers as long as Tommy keeps turning up.
I remember a few years back there actually being it was some sort of special where it was up to that point every Red Ranger
Forever Red
history Forever Red they just all got together and was just they were all just fighting whatever. I think it was whatever leftover costume monsters that they had. Yeah.
And every monster that ever fought a Red Ranger. Yeah, that was cool. Forever Red. We'll review that one day.
Right.
But we should just get into this amazing, amazing feature film. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995. Let's get into it, gentlemen, and see where this goes. Let's see how long I last in reviewing this. I was really excited to do this, and then I watched it, and then I was oh.
Yeah, I woke up to your text message, and that the next morning after you saw it.
What was my text message?
Your exact message was...
I think it was, this movie did not hold up.
It was, this movie did not hold up, which I was just yep, I feel that exact same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It starts off with a rip-off of Star Wars, with the whole thing, the text.
To crawl.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, centuries ago, a legendary interdimensional being known as Zordon came to the city of Angel Grove, yada, yada, yada. The Power Rangers were made, but there's an evil lurking. Essentially, I think I nailed it on the head there.
And then you get the Power Rangers, the movie.
The movie.
This was back when everything was the movie.
True.
Now it's the age of the colon and it's Power Rangers, the blah, 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 blah. But everything was just the movie.
Oh, man. Well, we're on a plane. The Power Rangers are here. They're not in their suits, but they're in the normal clothes. They're going skydiving. They're with Bulk and Skull, if you remember from the original series. Mm-hmm. They're also in this.
Bulk and Skull are actually still around.
They're still on the show. They direct and produce
Bulk
and stuff.
directs a lot of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Good for them. They are ready to jump out of plane. They do jump out of the plane. They say, catch you on the flip side. Tommy, of course, he's got to be the coolest. He's on a surfboard while in the middle of the air. They all jump out of a plane, and they're just flying. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, higher ground.
I was confused because one, at what point between high school and fighting, Rita Repulsa and all her evil army, did they have time to learn a synchronized skydiving routine? That was the one thing where even as a kid I was just I'm what's I don't remember that episode where they learned how to skydive.
Well, this was very much showing This is a movie now. We've got a budget. Let's start with a stunt.
Yeah, remember
jumping out of a plane.
Remember in the show, the show would always start with them at the community center, and they'd be doing karate and shit, right? So now it's like, well, now we can do something even better and crazier. Well, guess what? We're doing a jump out of a fucking plane. They announced that they're doing this for the Angel Grove, charity here. Whoever can land on the target.
Yeah, I believe it was like Save the Clock Tower or something.
Yeah,
like,
Save the Clock Tower.
Which also, I'm like, is it just open to everybody? Like, I would assume that it's strictly professionals, but these are literally kids that they just let jump out of a plane to raise money.
Also, these are not teenagers.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Jason David Frank was like 25 plus during the filming of this movie, easily.
Also, when did they become friends with Bulk and Skull?
They've always been friends, but they're not friends.
Though,
yeah,
right?
they're always they always still hang out. Like, I get it. It's like, those people you hate. Like, why do I always hang around you? I don't know. I feel like I look like Bulk.
Yeah, you could be Bulk.
Oh,
that could be your next.
You can be Skull. I'll be Bulk. Wow, Scrump will be Goldar.
I would love to be Goldar.
He's the best villain. We'll get to him. So the Power Rangers jump out of a fucking plane, and they can't find Bulk and Skull, but they land on this charity thing. It's Angel Grove Jumpathon. They all land perfectly, raising money for charity. There's this weird kid and his dad who are really, I'm drooling, really into Tommy. And I don't understand the dynamic here, but they're just super fans of Tommy Oliver, and they're like, yeah, he landed it, yeah. We can't seem to find Bulk and Skull. They'll land somewhere. Now the Rangers are rollerblading, and they're all in their outfits that correspond with their power colors, obviously.
That was one thing I've always wondered about. It's like, all right, Rangers have gone from being like, oh, you were the red, now you're the blue. So when they make that color change scheme, do they just get all new different clothes?
Of course.
Or is it some sort of Ranger magic? Because
No.
As a kid, I was just like, is it that fucking power coin that makes all their clothes just be red, white? Because it's weird that they always just, whenever they change colors or whenever they get to be that one, it's like
Zordon's their fashion designer, and choosing
he's like, hey, I get it, Zach, you really like the color blue, but you gotta do this specific color only.
Sorry, you can only wear black. I would love to be the Black Ranger because that's all I wear anyways. Yeah. So
you'd be the Black Ranger.
Yeah, I would be the Black Ranger. It's the only color I wear. You're wearing red right now, so maybe you would be the red.
No, I'd be the blue. I was always the blue. Oh. I deliberately failed an eye test so I could wear glasses like Billy.
Like Billy? Billy's the worst. We get the Rangers rollerblading. They think it'd be great if they took a shortcut through a construction site. I don't know about you guys, but when I go rollerblading, I also love to jump off things and pose for imaginary cameras.
Which is so 90s. I love it. It's one of those things where
it was.
Even the intro where it's like, oh yeah, extreme sports guys, we're fucking cool. And then even, them doing all these cool jumps and kicks or whatever they're doing while wearing their helmets and elbow pads.
Be safe out there.
It's also that electric guitar, wow, for everything. Every toy commercial had that noise in the 90s, and also everyone's got an earring. They're cool.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
All of them have an earring in this film.
Damn. Well, they're rollerblading and they go through a construction site, and we see in the corner of our screen Bulk and Skull. They do land on the ground in this construction site, and we find some construction workers, and they're in this site, and they're digging up rubble here. And they find this chamber or something in the ground, and they say, hey, you better take a look at this. And I don't know about you, but when I find something in a construction site buried under the ground, I instantly have to open it right then and there. So these construction workers get a crane here, and they lift this devil-faced, what is it, metal or brass or something?
It's like a manhole cover.
Yeah, it's like a sewer, a manhole, and they open... They open it, and it's smoke everywhere, and a giant metal hand with a purple egg inside of it, so it's massive. And they're all confused with what this is, and a guy touches it, and he gets electrocuted. So they're like, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to mess around with that. So we'll see where that leads. later on.
It was great that at this point they still had not contacted any sort of authority.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Or archaeologists. Hey, there's some clear... I think you have to like call an archaeologist if you find like old tools or old remains. But a giant egg, they're just like, no, it's fine.
Also, it electrocuted someone. Maybe call the cops.
Yeah, it was just like, it's fine. Just you know what?
We'll get a security guard here. It'll be great.
Yeah.
The Rangers are still not skateboarding, rollerblading. Same thing. Things I don't do. They're getting called to the command center from Zordon, so they, what do they call it? It's not morphing, when they teleport, I guess?
Yeah.
Teleport?
Yeah.
Sure. They go to the command center. Zordon is there. He informs all members of the Power Rangers here that the planet is in grave danger. Ivan Ooze, a being that reigned terror, he will enslave the entire universe. He was locked in a hyper-locked chamber, and...
Isn't that what Daniel Bryan was in to, help recover?
Daniel Bryan and Ivan Ooze, they're both sharing the
same thing. And they're both heels.
Yeah.
Ivan Ooze was trapped in a hyper-locked chamber, and guys, this is where I, literally was like, I'm too high for this shit. Because I don't know what was going on. He's talking about beings and titans from the history, and I'm like, okay, man. Cool. Zordon warns them that they must be prepared and must stop this interdimensional being. However, obviously someone else has found out about it, because Rita Repulsa and her goons and Lord Zed, they appear in the construction site. And they say that they've been looking for this for 2,000 years. Now let's crack this egg. And he zaps it with his Lord Zed staff. I always liked Lord Zed.
Yeah.
Lord Zed was
He's always scary.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to bring up was Rita, Goldar, and Lord Zed. I feel like those three are looks that even if you they eventually did redo the Power Ranger movies, but if you redid another one, those three specific costumes, they look good enough to where you could keep that. You
I agree.
Because it was kind of weird. Even Alpha and Zordon, they changed them. They changed them than what their TV counterparts were.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I get it. They want to put money into it. But I like that they definitely just kept Rita, Goldar, and Lord Zed
the classic,
the same. Because, like you said, Lord Zed just looks like a badass.
Also, though, this is the first episode, I guess, in the entire Mighty Morphin Power Rangers universe. This was the movie here was the first only used American footage. Everything before this used Japanese footage.
Right.
So this was the one where they're like, hey, no, we don't have any of that, so we need to get all these costumes. We need to make everything. We need to have everything is our own here. So that has something to do with it too. Because Goldar is different in this. He's more updated. There's definitely a budget. Goldar's my favorite villain. He should have been the main focus of this. The movie shouldn't have been Ivan Ooze. The movie should have been Goldar telling Lord Zed and Rita to fuck off
them.
and then try to take over. And I would have been better, but regardless, I digress. They zap the giant egg with Lord Zed's staff, and it opens, and it leaks out. And Rita says, "You've spent thousands of years searching for snot?" And it turns into a man. Or not a man. Ivan Ooze. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ooze is back. He says, "Do you recall the name of Zordon of Eltar?" And then he gets really mad, and he says, "I will obliterate his entire existence." And they said, good. So basically, Lord Zed and Rita, they think they're so slick. They found this creature they've been looking for years, and they set him free only so that he can destroy Zordon, right? That's what they're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the plot of this movie is. All right, just making sure everyone's up to speed. Ivan Ooze, he starts going in what may be the best line of the movie. "What is that odious stench? Smells like teenagers."
There are so many bits in this film watching it that I remember from the trailer.
Yeah.
Because you watch the trailer over and over again, so there's certain lines and things that stick out, and that's definitely one. It smells like teenagers.
I'll tell you what, Ivan Ooze is probably the only other person I can think of that could rival one John Pollock's puns, because the amount of
he does a lot of
ooze
puns
and slime related puns is just...
It's gross.
I wonder if Joel Schumacher was a massive fan of this film, because Batman and Robin comes out 2 years later, and there's so many similarities. Like just how bright and vibrant the whole thing is. The main villain is just pun after pun after pun.
Cool.
And it's kind of shit.
Yeah, they're both very shit movies. Yeah, Batman and Robin, great movie. I saw that.
But which one would you prefer, though? This one or Batman versus Robin?
Wow, that's like what's better, Godfather or The Goodfellas? You don't know. You couldn't pick. You can't choose one. So the teenagers are there. They teleport down to the construction site. They see the giant egg is there and is cracked, and there's been a security team, but they're not sure what's going on. And a security guard says, "Hey, what are you guys doing down here? What are you kids doing?" And they ask the security guard, "Have you seen a morphological being?"
like one does.
And the security guard says, "A morphological being? Did it look something like this?" And it's Ivan Ooze, of course. What a trickster. The galactically and globally reviled, universally despised Ivan Ooze. And the Rangers say, "Well, pack your bags, because we're sending you right back where you came from." Ah, a teenager with a big mouth. Nothing else has changed in 10,000 years. True. Teenagers to this day still have a big mouth. The Power Rangers are trying to fight him and stop him. Ivan Ooze says that Zordon is still making kids do his dirty work. Well, meet my kids. And his ooze monsters appear. And these are they're like mini predators, obviously. They got dreadlocks, and they're all purple, and they're made out of slime. This is where the fight scene happens here. "Welcome to my nightmare," Ivan Ooze says as he disappears, and the Power Rangers are left to fight off his minions. This is where a fight scene happens.
And we've got a really cool song.
All the songs are cool.
Action Boy Now, Action Girl Now. I was like, this is sick.
It's no Red Hot Chili Peppers, but...
And also, I discovered a drinking game for this movie.
Every time they go, "Hiya!"
No, every time they backflip.
Oh, like, dude...
If in doubt, backflip.
Dude, they started the movie with them jumping out of a plane. They did so many backflips. You're going to be drunk by the...
that was the one thing I was going to mention. The amount of back handsprings in this movie is just insane.
Yeah.
Like, there's one scene where they're all just like...
They all do it? Yeah.
Yeah, they all do it to meet up, and I'm like,
surely it's just easier to run.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moves in the fight scenes where they backflip or jump off a different area to land somewhere else where they were closer before they did that.
Yeah, it was very much like poor parkour, because it was just none of it seemed like it did anything. You know, it was like, all right, real crappy ooze pun, flip, and there's still 10 of these weird monsters just running around, and I'm like, yeah, that I can understand.
There's too many backflips.
Why 5-year-old me was like, that's so fucking cool. But now as an adult, I'm like, but why would you do that? Yeah, I'm like, why would you just
kill
him? Yeah.
Well, who Billy?
Blue Ranger.
Billy, he gets he's punching the shit out of one of them, and he punches one in the chest, and then he's got purple ooze all over him, and he goes, "You ooze, you lose."
You see, that's why he's the best. He's funny.
Right. Who's the Black Ranger?
Adam.
Adam. He says, "Do you want to kick the can?" And then he kicks a can in one of their faces. Kimberly. This is the scene you're talking about. Kimberly is getting there's two of them on her, and she can't fight them off because there's more of them than there are Rangers. So she starts backing off, and she starts backflipping. Then they all start backflipping to land on a thing, and they go, "Guys, there's just too many of them. We can't fight them off." You know what that means? You know what time it is?
It's morphin' time.
That's right. Little Braden, young Braden, still remembers the order of which the morphing goes. I can do it without looking at it. Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Mastodon, Saber-tooth tiger, and White tiger. They all morph. And the weird, 90s ska version of the theme song, the movie theme, is not the original theme. It's the movie theme. It's got trumpets and shit.
Was not a fan of this
me neither.
New updated song.
No, I was not either. I was listening to it before we were recording this, and I prefer the original.
Yeah.
much more. So they all morph into their suits, but as they do, the monsters are gone. They can't seem to find them. So they're like, we got to find them. We can't let them go. It cuts away from this fight, and it cuts to the command center, and Ivan Ooze slithers his way in. So he distracted the Rangers with his own monsters so that he could go to the command center. He finds Zordon, and he says that he's been stuck in an egg for years, and it was boring. And he had a Charlie horse since the Renaissance. He says that, Zordon, it's time to pay the piper. And he pulls out a flute, a pipe, and he starts playing it and starts destroying the command center. He says, you've made me miss so many things. And he says World War II, and he thinks something, and then at the end of all these things he goes, you also made me miss the Brady Bunch reunion. And then
this annoyed me. He didn't miss the reunion. He missed the Brady Bunch. He's been locked up for 6,000 years. Forget the reunion. He missed the whole fucking show.
You missed the whole bunch, but I thought that was funny. IMDb has told me that the actor who played Ivan Ooze actually ad-libbed that line.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Because he was a big Brady Bunch fan.
I thought this scene was actually really cool. There's been several scenes throughout the random series where the bad guys will come and invade the command center.
Right.
I know in Power Rangers Turbo, Divatox, the main bad guy,
Spoilers.
her henchmen come in, they break in and they kidnap Zordon, which leads to the next one. But even as a kid, it was always pretty cool seeing the bad guys invade the command center, because it was just but with this one, Ivan Ooze coming in and complaining about these things. He has zero. Where did he learn about all these things? Because he's locked away for so long.
Maybe he had some kind of Netflix in his egg back then.
I would love that. Like, if you see the actual egg inside, and it's just like, yeah, he's got Netflix. He's like, yeah, I could watch all this stuff, but I can't actually, I have no idea what.
Also, like, Ivan Ooze is played by Paul Freeman, who's like a bad guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's a famous Brit, no?
He's done loads of stuff.
So, it's funny.
Like, classically,
some of the lines he has are pretty. Like, I thought the Brady Bunch line was funny.
Yeah.
And then later, reading about this movie, it's like, yeah, he ad-libbed that. I was like, oh. To be fair, reading about this movie, most of the lines were like changed and altered because people were like, that's dumb, I'm changing it to this. And then they were like, yeah, fuck it, do it.
But also, I can kind of see it being like quite fun. Like, you're a good, decent, classically trained actor, and you're hired to do this thing where you're painted purple. You'd have as much fun as you can. Like, and you are probably going to be better than the shit they make up for you.
The Brady Bunch reunion. Cuts back to the Rangers. They're looking for these dark monsters. They use their power beams on their helmets. So they're all in their morph... the suits? Power suits?
Suits.
Power. You just put power in front of anything?
Power suits.
Because right here, Aisha goes, use power beam! And then the lights come out of their thing. So just add power. It's great. Tommy does this move. They find the creatures, and they start fighting them again in the dark. Tommy does this move where he, like, puts his arms over his chest and his legs while he's standing, and then just starts spinning in a 360 motion, which allows him to fly up into the air. And he says, later, dude, and he does that. So... cool. He kicks a monster into a corner of concrete, and it explodes into purple ooze. He says it's going to be one messy night. They do this double, like, super kick party between Billy and Rocky, I think, where they kick a guy's head, his eyes pop out of his head.
Now, this was definitely in the trailer as well.
Yes.
And I remember as a kid thinking, that looks so cool. His eyes pop out.
Whoa.
You watch it now, and it's like, you see the eyes, like, hand-drawn on the computer. Something else with all these fight scenes is you notice the wires so much.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the actual wire, but the way they, like, move, you can tell they're being pulled.
Yeah.
It's... like,
I wish we had the Blu-ray, because you would probably see it.
You probably would,
yeah. You probably would see, like, wires and shit in this movie. You're right. And a lot of the fight scenes, the way they're being moved is definitely not normal.
No.
You know why it's not normal? Because they're fucking Power Rangers. They keep fighting. Billy uses some, like, rope thing. It looks kind of lame. He, like, uses a weapon. They're using their weapons. I don't know what the fucking Power Rangers use.
See,
what is...
There was a lot of these, like, it was obviously specific for this movie But it's one of those things where, like with Aisha, if her armor's special power is those lights, but then Billy has like this weird rope, like how does that go about getting distributed? Where they're like, Aisha, you're fine. You're never gonna need this cool weapon to fight anything off. Like,
but what the fuck is it? You know those like sticky hand things? Those like toys? They're like the string. Mm-hmm. They're like goo, but they're a hand. It's like that. The Rangers are using that to like attack these guys. He's using that. They're all using their cool weapons. I wrote, there's so many fucking flips. I feel like I'm watching Ricochet and Osprey here. They're just flipping everywhere. Finally, they still can't take over these monsters. So, no, they are, but they got them all in one section. So this is where Tommy says, I'd like to introduce you to Saba. Right? That's what you call him?
Yep.
The sword.
Saba.
The sword that talks. He comes out. He shoots a laser at this crane thing, and a thing of... The crane drops on all the monsters, and they kills them, and they turn into ooze. Saba saves the day. He doesn't even need to use... Why didn't they just use that in the first place? Would have just stopped everything. Anyways, they try to reach the command center. They can't reach Alpha for some reason. So they can't... Oh, their power's drained, too. Their morph suits disappear. So they're like, we have to get there. But we can't just teleport, so they have to like actually on foot go to the command center. So when they get there, they see the ooze all over the doors. They go inside and they find Zordon is dying. He's outside of his chamber thing and he's just laid there.
He looks like Darth Vader without the mask.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He's just there, just dying. He does look like that.
Yeah.
That looks exactly like him. It is him. Alpha's fucked up. They fix Alpha, but Zordon's dying. He fills them in that Ivan Ooze has won. Kimberly is crying. She says, Zordon, you've been a father to us.
I tell you something that does hold up. Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly.
Yeah, still absolutely in love with her.
I feel that she was the best actress.
She was.
Yeah.
In the whole movie.
She's still acting like non-Power Rangers stuff. Like, I feel most of the others are only doing Power Rangers stuff. She's still got a career.
Yeah, because after this, I think she's probably the most successful acting-wise.
Yeah.
I know she's in a lot of things.
She did Flashpoint, which was I think a Canadian show because they filmed it here. She every time she was in town in Toronto filming this, she'd do random pop-up busking. Mm-hmm. She'd show up at Yonge and Dundas in Toronto and just start singing. Right. And not actually for money, but just because I guess she likes to do it. I don't know.
She came to Gabby's once.
Wow. Did you see her?
No. Oh. I wasn't working on.
Wow. Imagine that. You're famous. I feel like most guys who watch Power Rangers all have the crush on Kimberly because we were so young watching it, and you're like, wow, a girl's doing all this stuff.
Certain people have what's her face from Saved by the Bell.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's no. Kimberly's where it's at.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Is it? Tiffany is her real name from Saved by the Bell. What's her actual name? The girl from Saved by the Bell. I'm blanking on it now. She is great. That would be a fight. So Kimberly is sad. She's crying. Alpha informs them, and Zordon informs them that there might be a way. There is a power. The great power. It's on a planet called Phaedos. And if you go there, there's a chance you can get it. But people for years, thousands of years, have tried to get this power, and they unsuccessfully... They die. They don't get it. So if you could try it, but we could teleport you there, but we don't have enough power to get you back. So you either die there or you get the power and you come back. So they're like, well, it's the only way. We better do it. So they morph to this mysterious planet known as Phaedos, and we'll see what happens there. It cuts to Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed. They're on their moon thing, wherever they hang out. Where do they used to hang out on the show? Their own planet. It
was the dark side of the moon or something.
Yeah, listening to some Pink Floyd. Lord Zed is smoking that good. Look at him. He is. Ivan Ooze interrupts. He says, honey, I'm home. And they're confused as why he's there. He throws ooze into Rita's mouth. He says, listen, guys, the boogeyman is taken over. He turns Rita and Lord Zed into a tiny snow globe. He puts them inside of it. He locks the most evilest villains we've ever known as kids for years, watching these villains fuck around with the Rangers, and this guy, in a snap of his fingers, puts them in a snow globe. That's how evil this guy is. Just remember that. Goldar and Mordaunt? What's the other guy's name?
The pig dude.
The pig dude.
Mordaunt. Mordant? Whatever. Goldar and the other guy. They're there. They're not in the snow globe. Ooze basically hires them. He says, we're hiring. I'm going to, bring you guys on. He learns that the Power Rangers are going to this island of Phaedos. And Ooze is like, well, if they're going to Phaedos, then I got to stop them. So he creates these Tengu warriors. They're basically birds.
Yeah.
Human birds.
Yeah. It was a cross between, like, this bit. It's kind of like the Flying Monkeys.
It's exactly
from
the
Wizard of
Flying
Oz
Monkeys.
Meets Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Sure.
This point, they all land down. They're all in, like, that triangle, like the beginning of the Thriller dance.
Yeah. And they're all just there, and they're the Ooze birds, the Tengu warriors, the Flying Monkeys. They're exactly Flying Monkeys, is what I wrote, because it's so similar. He sends them to go fight the Power Rangers and stop them. It cuts to the Rangers. They're on Phaedos. So remember, they don't have any powers. They're just teenagers. They're just regular old, smelly teenagers without acne. They find this, like, skeleton remains of this giant monster being on an ocean, and they're like, wow, if this creature couldn't survive here, how the hell are we gonna live? But the camera shows that they're being watched by a mysterious figure. Now Ooze is with Goldar and the other guy in a factory, and they're starting this weird factory of Ooze. Ivan Ooze says he has a plan to stop the world and take over, and it all starts with the Ooze, so we'll see what happens with there. Back on the island, the planet, Tommy and Kim, they're talking to each other. He's consoling her because she's upset. You know why she's upset, because Zordon's going to die. What if we don't stop this? And it's about to be a lovely...
Tommy's seeing this as the perfect opportunity to sweep in.
Yeah, Tommy's sliding in.
Hey, Kimberly, it's all going to be okay.
Has there ever been, like, canon that they were a thing?
Later on, yeah.
Really?
Later on?
Yeah.
They hinted it a lot.
They hint at it. Later on in the show, it is. Yeah, they date in the show.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
There's the episode where they're on a date and, like, they get attacked and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So he's trying to, slide in them DMs. And as it's happening, as he's about to maybe kiss her, I don't know, the birds, they attack. The Tengu warriors, the Flying Monkeys, they attack them on the island. The birds are beating them up, to be honest with you, because the Rangers just don't have it anymore. They got a lot going on in their mind. And as they are about to lose, this Amazon enchantress type woman comes down. She swoops in. She's got this, like, bow staff, but she turns it into two sticks and she swings them around to make this noise, and it clearly scares off the birds, and they fly away up into the sky. And the Rangers thank you. This mysterious woman, she says, if you want to thank me, then go away. They say, we're looking for the great power. She says, the ground is littered with it. Hear that?
Yeah.
The ground is lit. The ground is lit with the great power. Many have come here, and everyone have failed, and you will be no different. They say, listen, we don't want any trouble. What's your name? She says, my name is Dulcia?
Dulcia. She's basically Xena Warrior Princess.
She is exactly this.
Although this came out first. I looked that up.
This came out before Xena?
Yeah, I know. I was surprised.
That's fucked
I was
up.
like, they've ripped this off. And I was like, oh, damn, this came out before it.
I love Dulcia. I'm madly in love with Dulcia.
I was bummed with...
you were bummed?
Because I was bummed that they cut out... Like, I read they had, like, a whole cool backstory for her that they just, like, completely cut out because they were like, we don't...
I guess you didn't need it, but, I mean, she's cute.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was... Like, I guess... and it would have made more sense, too, because apparently she was part of, like, a alien race where her and, like, Zordon... Yeah, and then they're the ones who locked up Ivan Ooze, which you figure would be, kind of make sense to include that in, but they're just like, no, she's just, she's cool. She's on this island.
Like I said, like I did not have enough weed for this movie. Like I need to do some shrooms before I watch Power Rangers again. Like you need to some of this shit is too deep. This Amazon woman in the Power Rangers, she's here and she's saving their life. She says that she's not going to help them, and they're all sad, and they're like, well, we're here, like Zordon sent us, and we need to, Ooze is going to kill him and take over the world, and she cuts them off. She goes, whoa. Zordon? Did you say Zordon? They go, yeah, we're with him, we're his Rangers. Ooze is, and she goes, Ivan Ooze is a monster. If you don't hurry, your planet is doomed. I will help you find the power. So Dulcia is going to find them. Damn, Dulcia. Ivan Ooze, he's now a scary wizard clown. He's got commercials on TV. He's telling kids to come on down to the theme park there in Angel Grove because he's handing out free slime. Ivan Ooze slime. He does some rhyming scheme here.
Yeah, he's like an intergalactic Post Malone, basically.
Yeah, he's got bars.
Yeah.
He's got bars. Someone should sign him. He does. He's got less tattoos. He does look like a weird wizard clown thing. The weird dad and the weird kid. Earlier in the movie, they were Tommy's fans from when they were skydiving. I knew they were weird. The dad comes home and he finds this jar of sludge, this ooze that the kid came home because he got it for free from Ivan Ooze. The dad is like, what is this stuff? So he opens it and puts his fingers in it, and he gets hypnotized by the ooze. And he walks right out his house like a zombie, and then we realize that every single parent in Angel Grove has been hypnotized because that was the plan of Ivan Ooze. He was going to send home the kids with this free shit, and the parents will be like, what is this? And then get hypnotized.
It was this part of the movie that I kind of felt was written by a kid, or at least a group of kids, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, what? Did you just have to touch the slime?
Yeah.
Do you have to ingest it? I don't know what's going on with that. And then it just kind of feels like a kid thing to be like, yeah. And then all the parents get brainwashed and they have to do all the work.
You're right. It does feel like a kid wrote that.
Yeah, if it was the writer's son was just like, hey, Dad, how? And he's just like, yeah, sure. Yeah, fine. We'll throw that.
They're hypnotized. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's like, just fuck off. I have to finish this stupid
You're telling me Ivan Ooze, the guy who just put Rita and Lord Zed in a snow globe, couldn't just kill everyone in a snap?
Yeah.
Couldn't just be like...
Well, it was the same thing when he went to the command center. Why didn't he kill Zordon? He just left him laying there.
Bad guys.
This movie would be a good 30, 35 minutes shorter if it was just he kills Zordon.
And pretty depressing.
Just kills him. Just kills him.
Yeah, just kills him, and then, they could always bring him back at the end, but it made no sense. He was right there. He's just like, all right, buddy, well, let's hope that those kids don't help you get back your powers.
Well, Ivan Ooze has hypnotized the entire parents of Angel Grove. Sounds so stupid. Back on Phaedos, Dulcia, she's there with the Rangers, and she's telling them that in each of us, every one of us, in people in general, she means every human, deep inside of us lies an animal spirit waiting to be released. What would your spirits be, guys?
Mine would probably be a dog, like a Labrador.
Yeah, you're like a lab, like a white golden lab.
Yeah.
Majestic. I'd say a sloth.
You're a sloth?
Yeah, just hangs out. Just
You'd be a more tattooed sloth.
Yeah,
Like the sloth from Zootopia is pretty cool. I would be like a grizzly bear, but like a friendly grizzly bear. Like ones that don't attack people. They'd be like, look at that scary-looking giant grizzly bear. And then it's like, oh, it's just Braden. That's majority of my life anyways. Because she's about to give the Rangers their animal spirits. She blows this dust into the fire, and it starts this flame. She's basically takes this dust out of this bag, and she goes, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Dog, isn't it? Yeah.
I call this story The Tale of the Power Rangers. And she throws it into the fire. It goes whoosh, and then all of a sudden the Power Rangers are in these ninja outfits, They're in ninja garments.
They look way more comfy than their regular suits.
Comfy, yes.
Not as cool, though.
Let's see. Billy is looking like a Crip because he's all blue. Rocky looks like he's in the Bloods. Tommy's in the white. He's looking like a KKK member. I'd say the guy in all black looks the coolest.
But he's a fucking frog.
Yeah.
That's my favourite part of the movie. I actually laughed out loud.
Also an ad-libbed line was that part of the movie. So basically, she goes around and she's telling everyone they're animals. She goes to Aisha, Yellow Ranger. She says, Aisha, you are the bear, fierce, unstoppable. Rocky, Red Ranger. You are the powerful, smart, mighty ape. Billy, the Blue Ranger. You are the wolf, cunning and swift. Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, you are the light, agile crane. Adam, and he's all sad.
What's wrong, Adam?
He goes, I'm a frog. Which is pretty true. All these fucking guys get cool shit.
Oh, yeah.
You're a fucking frog. She goes, yes, a frog. Like the one you get to kiss to get a handsome prince. Some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then she goes to Tommy, the White Ranger. She goes, you are the Falcon, the winged lord of the skies. And they got the power of the ninjetti. I don't know. I feel like the frog is the shittiest. What's a crane going to do
so
either?
Funny. I don't think I knew what a crane was as a kid.
I read that the actor who played Adam here thought that would be a better line than the line he actually had. Because he's like, guys, it's a frog. Like, it's the worst animal.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, that's funny. Let's do it. So they used that shot. The shot of her saying, what's wrong? And I'm a frog was purely, like, improvised. And then they were like, that's funny. We're going to keep it. Because it's true. Why? Why a frog? Although his Zord later on, his Zord's pretty cool. Maybe I would be a frog, actually. Low key. Frog's a cool animal.
I felt like that happened a lot though as a kid, where when everyone was like, "Yeah, we're gonna play Power Rangers,"
yeah, true.
Like it was always like the kid you didn't like. Like for us, it would have been the kid down the street. His name was Emilio. No one liked him. He'd just come around. Right. So I know as a kid, we always made him be like the character nobody wanted.
Right. What would be like Billy used to be the Billy or the Yellow Ranger or like anyone besides Jason was the original Red Ranger.
I liked Billy.
You liked Billy, obviously. Or like Ninja Turtles, I would never be Leo. I'd be like, no one wants to be Leo.
Yeah,
He's
I like
soft.
Leo.
Yeah, you like all the boring like leaders and like good guys, like lame. You're right. I remember playing Power Rangers. Everyone would be like, I want to be Tommy. I want to be this guy. It's like, well, not everyone can be the right person. That's why they have these shitty secondary characters. The Rangers now have the power of the animals, the great power. They have ninjetti, which I don't know how to spell properly. They say that the animal spirits will watch over you. And then Dulcia turns into a owl. And she flies away. That would be a majestic character.
Owl?
Owl? Like the OVO owl? That'd be cool. Weird kid Fred... He's home, but he can't find his weird dad. He realizes that all the parents have been turned into zombies, and he finds Ivan Ooze in the construction site, and we see every parent in Angel Grove is now his slave, his minion, essentially. We get Ivan Ooze in a part of the movie that I feel like should have been cut out, which is the whole fucking movie. Ivan Ooze and Goldar and the other pig guy, they make a hypnotized fat parent dance.
I found this funny.
All right, then you explain this to me, because he makes this guy dance, and they're all laughing. And I imagine me being 5, being like, he's got this guy dancing, oh my god, oh. Me watching this, I was like...
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I was like scraping my weed bowl. I'm like, I need alcohol. I need something to make this better. What the fuck? Ivan Ooze makes this guy dance. They make him do the I don't even know the dance moves they make.
The twist and ballet and stuff. Yeah,
I don't know. Goldar is laughing his ass off. The birds return. The flying monkeys, the Tengu warriors. They land down here. They tell them that they fought those Power Rangers. Haha, we got them. And he's like, good, you killed them. You destroyed them. Well, we didn't destroy them. Well, what do you mean you didn't destroy them? Well, some lady showed up with whistling sticks. Whistling sticks? He goes, Dulcia, the she-devil. So he's kind of mad because his monsters didn't kill the Power Rangers.
And this is where I realised that Matthew McConaughey is actually playing one of the birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
David believes that Matthew McConaughey is an extra in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie.
We'll add the clip later.
So there's a one of them that's like talking to Ivan Ooze, and he's like, well, we gotta go get him at that island. All right. Yeah. Pretty much this one bird from Ivan Ooze is Matthew McConaughey. Hey, Bryan Cranston started off as a villain.
Yeah.
Power Rangers.
Yep.
Right? He was like a voice.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I think he was several characters. I know most notably he was one specific, but I think it was one of those things where he was just a struggling actor and he just played anyone they would let him.
And that's why they named Billy Cranston. They named him after
Yes,
Bryan.
they did. Also, Bryan Cranston was Zordon in 2017 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's right, yeah.
And maybe the new one coming up, if they make it again. So he's mad that his monsters didn't kill the Rangers, so he turns them into feathers. So there's that. The Power Rangers are now ready to face the great power. They say it's time, and they walk into this jungle. I don't understand. I thought they already got the power, then they have to fight for the power. We'll find out. Fred, the weird Fred kid, he finds his weird dad working and hypnotized. He's trying to get his dad, like, hey, come on, stop, Dad. But his dad is hypnotized. He doesn't have. Mordaunt and Goldar are like, get back to work. And I don't care if you have a weak back. I had a weak back about a week back. Yeah. Ooze reveals he's making them dig up this machine that he was buried with, his chamber thing, that if they uncover this entire machine, it could potentially take over the entire world. So we know his plan now. The Rangers are in this jungle. They find a skeleton of a skeleton graveyard of just giant dinosaur bones. And this is where Adam makes the joke, welcome to Jurassic Park. I think is also in the trailer, I remember. The giant dinoskeleton comes to life. It's like a giant dinosaur creature. It attacks the Power Rangers. It charges for Kimberly. She screams for Tommy, and he fights it with a stick. He backflips onto it. He's basically riding this giant, scary skeleton dinosaur like a bull, and he goes, I got a bone to pick with you, and he pulls out a bone, and it falls to pieces.
It is crazy to me. This came out 2 years after Jurassic Park. Some of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park still today
are the most
awesome
talked about creations in a movie ever.
Yeah.
And then two years later,
we get this.
Yeah, I think one CGI dinosaur looks better than all the CGI combined in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's weird to think, that Jurassic Park came out 2 years prior just because of which. I mean, it's weird because Power Rangers was a popular thing, so you would have figured they put some money into it.
Clearly, they put a lot of money in this movie. They did, but in the wrong sections,
But also, when it's got such a following, why? It's gonna fucking sell.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming out. It's gonna be the film the kids want to see. The girls are gonna want to see Pocahontas the week before,
right?
And you take the boys to see Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics in this were not super
terrible.
great. Yeah,
Terrible.
Same with the show, but like.
I think in the show, we'll get to it when we see the Zords later, but in the show they use a lot of miniatures. They pretty much use the toys.
The Japanese style.
And it looks so much better than this really bad CGI.
The Ooze has the parents complete his ectomorphing skeleton thing. I don't know. He tells them you've completed your job. Thank you, parents of Angel Grove. Now go walk around the city and walk and jump to your doom. He's telling them to go kill themselves. He's basically, they'll listen to him. They're hypnotized. They're zombies. He tells them to go all jump to their death. Jesus. That's
dark.
That's morbid. The monster machines are like two giant ooze-filled things. creatures.
Bugs, scorpions?
Yeah, a scorpion and an ant or something, it looks like. And he tells them to go destroy the city. Back to the Rangers on the island or planet. They find this temple with these stone warriors built into them. And they look like bear people with axes and shit. This was my favorite fight scene in the movie.
The statue one, yeah, it's good.
The statue fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you laughing?
I saw something completely unrelated. That made me laugh.
They find this temple with these stone creatures, and they fight them. I feel like this is the fight where if they beat these things, they get to morph.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they do just that. These creatures are made out of rock and metal and armor. And how would you describe these monsters? Are they pigs? Are they boars? Are they...
They kind of look like gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're gargoyles.
Yeah, I think they were modeled after a boar or something.
Right. This fight scene is the best fight scene. There's a lot of jumping, a lot of flips. Rocky at some point climbs they're in a jungle, remind you, so there's just jungle rope. You know what jungle rope is.
Yeah.
It's just rope in the jungle.
Yeah.
It's just always
Natural
there.
rope.
Yeah, it's just always there. Great. Rocky climbs some of this jungle rope and jumps off these creatures, and the creature no-sells it because it's made out of rock, and Adam kicks one into the water and it burns and dies, and they realize maybe that's how they kill it. Aisha's in a cave, she's stuck there, but Rocky saves her. Tommy swings, this is where I'm talking about, there's so many flips and shit that are just so unnecessary. Kimberly, Pink Ranger, she's let's say stage right. she's up top and she's being chased by one of these things, and she's trying to push a rock onto it. She's about to die, but she can't get out of it. So Tommy sees this. So he's like, Kimberly, I'll save you. Cuts back to her. She's still fighting. Tommy then goes all the way. Tommy's already stage center. Key goes all the way stage left. Climbs up to get to the jungle rope to swing all the way across to stage right.
They're teenagers. They're dumb. Okay?
Oh no, I better go save the girl I like. Let me go the opposite direction to swing, only to not swing and kick, not to swing in anything. To swing, land on his feet beside her and go, all right, let's stop this monster. They stick a stick into a boulder and release it onto this monster, crushing it. Billy and Adam or Rocky use the jungle rope as an elevator, and they make the other monster split the other monster in half.
Talk about a splitting headache.
Yeah. Fucking great. Tommy hits this 360 corkscrew kick, sending the other monster flying, and it explodes into rubble. Why does Tommy always get the last kill? Because he's the guy?
He's the guy.
Hey, he's the most over.
Yeah, he is the most over. The ground shakes and trembles, and the temple door rises. They have found their great power. The spirits of the animals are released into them, and they now have their morph suits back. They have the power, and they have their power coins and their Liddy AF. They're ready to stop Ivan Ooze, and they morph to the city. Back to Angel Grove. The monsters are attacking the city. It's hell on earth. And that's when we hear, what's that smell? And the Rangers morph down because, he can smell the teenagers. It's a callback. They got new Zords, too. They show up and they're like, we can't fight these things. Look at the size of these things. Well, you know what that means. It's time for our Zords. So the Zords show up. We get the Frog Zord.
And we always hear the ribbit every time we see
it. Yes. They're letting you know, in case you weren't sure what Zord that was. It's the Frog Zord. The Zord looks weird, though. It doesn't look like the main one.
Yeah, I think it's too computer. They should have just done a model.
Yeah, I think that might be the issue.
I feel video games look better than this. But,
See, I was confused where, at what point, I mean, it's a kid's movie, but at what point did they find out that they had new Zords? Because they literally just get their powers. There's no explanation of hey, by the way, you've also got new Zords. They just breeze through that part because they literally morph, go back to Angel Grove, and they're just oh yeah, we know what's going on.
I guess the controllers are still the same.
Mm-hmm.
I played Nintendo all my life. I played Mario Kart on the Switch the other week. I'd never picked up a Switch controller. I knew how to use it.
Right.
I knew how to
It's
play
just like
Mario
riding
Kart.
a Zord.
It's
just like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers how to control a Megazord.
Yeah.
You do it once, you can do it forever. Well, the Power Rangers clearly don't know how to do this because at first they're fighting these monsters quite fine. But soon we'll find out their power is just not enough. All the Zords are fighting except for Tommy. The kids are trying to stop their parents from leaping their doom, essentially. And it cuts to the weird kid, Fred. And he goes to a club or a bar where so if all the parents of a city are hypnotized and brainwashed and zombies, all the kids now are cool with it. And they're partying. And they're drinking 7-Ups. They're literally, every kid in this party is drinking 7-Up. And the weird kid, Fred, is like, hey man, like, we should be saving our parents. Like, this guy's trying to take over the world. What the fuck are you doing? And they're like, well, our parents are gone. It's a party. They're like, no. It's a party now, but we're going to die. We need to stop this.
We don't know how to cook dinner.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't know how to iron my clothes.
Yeah, what the fuck? So they're like, all right, well, let's fucking go then. So they get on a monorail. Monorail. They're gonna save their parents with the monorail. But unfortunately, during the Zord fight, one of the monsters falls over the tracks and takes out a good piece of track. So Tommy sees this monorail coming, but the kids are all going to die. Mm. So Tommy, in his new Falcon Zord, flies down and he lays on the track. And the monorail train goes over the Zord and continues onto the track.
I don't quite think that would work.
Now let's talk about... No, I have a feeling it would.
Yeah?
Yep. I have a theory. So you're on this track, right? A subway track. And it's only a little bit of stretch of track that's missing. Mm. And the Zord, which is presumably made out of metal, goes and replaces that track. So the thing is already going super fast on the track, going straight. And then I feel like if you got rid of the track, it would just go and fall. Hmm. But with that little bit of Zord,
so the momentum's taken.
It would take it. Yeah, the momentum would keep it going.
You're going to scratch up your brand new Zord, though.
Yeah, Tommy Zord got scratched the fuck up, but he saved the kids.
True.
So scratch Zord, dead kids. I don't know.
Mm. what if Zord was just like a tad too short? Because it's the perfect size for it now.
Yeah, it was. You know what? It was the perfect size. That Falcon. Damn. They were like, yo, what if we made the Zord perfect size if we needed to save kids on a monorail? Yeah, we should. And it did. Wow.
He looks out of his left window. Oh, yeah, it's all good. Looks out his right. Ah! Oh, shit.
He puts his thumb up like, yeah, kids, go do it. Tommy is my favorite with his, like, vocals. I do, like, audio production and music production. One time, someone who works in movies and TV gave me a hard drive. And he was like, on this has every sound effect and theme used in the Power Rangers.
Right.
And I was like, I don't understand. He's like, no. Every tiny little thing. So this was over a terabyte, this hard drive. And in it was every little sound effect, every little thing. So I had like access to everything that the editors had access to. And in this folder, there was calls that the Power Rangers would use, like the Pterodon, all that stuff. Tommy had his own folder. And it was just like, yeah, all right, let's go, guys. And it's like, what? Everything he said is awful. Why is his acting like that?
We see, like, even if, like, at the convention that I was working at, there was one year where he was a few tables over to us, and that's all it was. Every 5 minutes, it's just, yeah. You know, and, like, people would love it. It was just, they would pop so hard whenever he would do it. It got annoying to us sitting there having to hear it all the time, but he's definitely got it, like, down.
I met him a few times, and he gave me a sticker. It's a Green Ranger sticker, and it says "Go Green." It's on my laptop. He's an interesting cat, but
I met him the one time, and I don't think he was particularly fond of me because his handler person or whatever wanted to come over and talk to CM Punk, who I was there with, and I was just like, absolutely not.
The dream match we never got.
Yeah.
The Green Ranger versus CM Punk. We'll never ever get it unless he keeps annoying him one day in a parking lot.
Never.
Yeah, it'll be great. So Tommy saves the kids with the Zord. Everything is great. But the other Zords are still fighting, and there's a Zord fight going on without Tommy. It cuts to Goldar and Ooze, and they're like basically just watching this fight. And Goldar puts his hand on Ooze's shoulder and says, "Look, we're winning." And Ooze says, "Touch me again and I'll turn you into chicken wings." It's like, all right. Did that need to be in the movie? Ivan Ooze says, "Ooh, look, here comes that cute little Power Ranger." And Goldar, with the line in the movie, says, "Oh, so you think she's cute too, huh?"
Literally everyone did, Goldar.
I laughed so fucking hard to this line.
This has to be, like...
This is great. This is the best line in the movie. I was like, this whole movie sucks. This made it for me. I was like, all right, I got my entertainment from this line. Oh, there comes that cute little Power Ranger. Oh, so you think she's cute too? Great. Fantastic writing. And of course everyone thinks she's cute. Yeah. Come on. Tell me if you think she's not cute. Because you're wrong. The Frog Zord is lit, is what I wrote in my notes here. But y'all can't fuck with the Falcon Zord. This is what I wrote. The Zords are fighting, but the monsters are just too much. Ooze turns into slime and then morphs himself into his Zords.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, he like combines his body with the Zords, so like they become one.
He becomes the Megazord.
Yeah.
He becomes an Ooze Zord, essentially. It's monster Ooze. He's giant. It's like Make My Monsters Grow, but his version. So he's basically, if you took... He becomes Super Shredder Ooze.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
They should have got Kevin Nash to put on the suit and drink the ooze here. It's Super Shredder Ooze, and he's using what looks like the Space Needle from Seattle, or the CN Tower here in Toronto, but in Angel Grove they have their own Space Needle. He uses that as a sword. That's how big this guy is. But he starts sword fighting with the Megazord, but it's just not good enough. So the Megazord that we have is like a weird-looking Megazord, and they can't fight it properly. So the Falcon is he's there saving the kids, and he comes down over, and he sees that he hasn't been joined up with the other Rangers' Megazord, and maybe that's why they're getting their ass kicked. Because Ooze is like gorilla press slamming them. He's like throwing them over his heads. He's throwing the Megazord through buildings. So they're like, "Tommy, get your butt down here." So he flies in and he goes, "It's time. Ninja Falcon Megazord."
Damn.
What the fuck? Ninja Falcon Megazord. This shit is lit. You heard me correct. Y'all done fucked up. They fly into space and Ooze chases them because that's their plan. So they fly into space, hoping that the Ooze Megazord chases them because they're going to throw Ooze into a comet. Billy, the smart one, is like, "Hey, look, there's the space program says there's a comet flying by at this time. Why don't we take Ooze and throw him into it?" And they're like, that's what we were thinking anyways. Yeah. So I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in a fight with someone, I think, can I throw them into the flying comet or not?
I'm just glad there was that conveniently placed comet.
Thank God. Yeah. Also, where the fuck was this comet going? To Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Wait a second. Is this Armageddon? Are we like losing the world? And they're like, "Fuck it, we better stop it." That was not mentioned.
No.
No, not once. Which you figure, they would mention, hey, a comet's also coming. Like if they were smarter, they would have mentioned it prior to the beginnings, just in the back of your mind. But no.
Have it on a little news report earlier in the background.
There might be a fucking comet that's gonna kill everything. I digress. The kids, with the weird kid leading the way, they're trying to stop their parents from jumping to their death, and the parents now are almost at this crossroads, which also conveniently looked like the construction site.
Yeah. Oh, it was the construction site, wasn't it?
So just a recap for those of you listening at home, keeping score. Ivan Ooze told the parents to go walk and jump to your death. He told them that at the construction site. Hours later, they're walking to the construction site to jump and die. Okay, cool. Just checking. Cool. The kids realize that it's water that stops the hypnotizing. So they spray their parents with all this water. It cuts to the snow globe. And Rita and Lord Zed are now in the snow globe cheering for the Power Rangers. They're rooting for their enemies to win. Have we guys ever thought we'd see the day where Rita and Lord Zed would be on the side of the Rangers?
I know.
No.
Wow. Crazy. The Zords now are fighting in space. Jesus Christ, this movie. The fucking Megazords and Ivan Ooze, the villain, are in space. They're fighting, and they see the comet. It's coming. They're brawling. They're fighting. They just can't shake Ivan Ooze. Every move they have, he's got one above them. So they go, guys, I think we have to do what we think we need to do. And they're like, what is that? And I think it's Aisha, who's like, Aisha's like, we have this emergency. It says only use in emergency. You have to break the glass to push this button in the Megazord.
Can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
This emergency button is a kick them in the dick button.
Yeah.
For emergencies only.
It's a low blow.
Go full on Nakamura and push this button.
So Aisha is like, guys, we have to use it. So she breaks the glass, hits the button, and the Zord low blows Ivan Ooze. Kicks him in the dick.
Normally these buttons are for like
rockets.
Well, or self-destruction. It's like, we need to save the world, we're going to blow ourselves up and the bad guy. No, it's just a...
Kick him in the balls.
Kick him in the dick.
So the Power Rangers use the emergency button and kick Ivan Ooze in the ooze, sending him into the comet, killing him as he explodes into 1,000 million pieces. The Power Rangers, with a kick to the dick, have won and saved the world.
Now, at what point in any other non-close combat fight would this emergency kick to the dick come in handy?
How Daniel Bryan won the title, I guess.
Yeah, that was the one thing where I was like, is it just specifically like a kick to the dick, or is it like some sort of weird magic like,
it's a swift kick. It was no.
I don't get why it's for emergencies only, because it's
comedic purposes.
Yeah. I found this very funny.
No wonder when I was a kid and got into fights, I was like, how am I going to finish this? I'm losing. All right.
Emergency.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers are the good guys, and they win with a kick to the balls, a low blow.
Yeah.
And they kill Ivan Ooze. Wow. The Rangers now go to the command center, and Zordon, the body, is just laying... They just left his body there on ice, just chilling. They're like, he's dead. We can't save him. He's dead. So they all form a circle around him, a circle of power, and they bring him back. And you hear, Rangers! And he's alive. And they saved him. Kimberly was crying, and the tears brought Zordon back to life. The Power Rangers have now killed Ivan Ooze. They've brought back Zordon. Everything is right in the world. We cut to, I've got the power! Perfect soundtrack to this movie. The Power Rangers now, I don't know about you, but after I save the world, I like to go to Darling Harbour in Sydney, Australia, and watch fireworks.
No. This was Angel Grove. I know a lot of people said it looks just like Australia, but I can assure you,
this is Angel Grove, California. Angel Grove is supposed to be California, by the way.
Yeah.
Looks suspiciously a lot like Sydney, Australia. They're here. The Power Rangers are all there. There's a crowd of people watching the fireworks here. And the fireworks shoot off on this sign, and it says, "Thank you, Power Rangers." And it explosions, and then Tommy goes, "Yeah!" And then the kid goes, "Yeah!" And then everyone goes, "Yeah!" And it cuts to the credits. But right before it goes to the main credits, we have Goldar sitting in Lord Zed's throne, his chair. He's spinning around in it like a little kid. And as he turns around, Lord Zed and Rita return, which then cuts to the commercials to the credits. Then, meaning, Lord Zed and Rita are back in control. Yeah, and that's the end of the movie. We did it.
Woo!
Wow, the Power Rangers are in Darling Harbor with fireworks, and that's how it ends. Damn! Wow. What would you give that movie? What did critics give this movie?
Oh, it wasn't great. It was like 2 stars.
Oh,
5 on IMDb, something like that.
right.
You know what? There's something that's got to be said. Like, the effects are awful.
Right.
The script is awful.
Right.
The acting is awful.
Fantastic.
Yet, it captured a 6-year-old's imagination so much that all I do all day is play Power Rangers, and 23 years later, I'm still talking about it.
100%.
So, it kind of just shows you don't need all this flashy shit for kids.
Right.
Like, just, spark their imagination, you know?
It's true.
I mean...
Go for it.
No, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, as a kid, I would have given this, 11 stars out of 10.
Yeah.
But you look back at it now, and it's definitely it's a good amount of just nostalgia where you're just like, oh yeah, this is why I rented this every weekend at Blockbuster. Yeah, but I mean, it
and it's
like
not,
Davey said, it doesn't hold up as far as acting and effects, but it's a Power Rangers movie, man.
Yeah.
It's the Power Rangers movie.
The Power Rangers movie. I felt, just being a fan of the show, I felt this film really lacked Bulk and Skull. I don't think they were used to their full potential in this. They were only really in 2 scenes, and they were always fun characters on the show. And I think the same for Zed and Rita. I get they wanted to make Ivan Ooze be like this ultimate big bad, but Zed and Rita are such a big part of the show that it was a shame that they're not.
Yeah, it was taken away from it. Yeah,
and I think you could have definitely had more, a lot more comedic elements with Bulk and Skull, and have them be they're helping the kids at the end, but they could have had a bit more of a heroic moment, I think, because they are fan favorites.
Yeah,
are Bulk and Skull supposed to be the same age as the Rangers? I've never figured that out.
They're all not teenagers.
No,
they're all supposed to... Yeah,
but
they
I
are.
think so. I think they're all
in school.
Year at school.
They're in school, yeah. Those are not teenagers.
Right, so we should go to feedback. Scrump, I know you're at work. Do you want to stick around for feedback, or shall we...
I've got it pulled up.
You've got it pulled up.
I learned that... Because I was watching this the other night. I watched this, and I was like, why... I didn't know this. I had to Google this, because I was pretty sure. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Darling Harbor. I've been there. And I Googled it. And half this movie was filmed in Australia.
Right.
I had no idea. What I also learned is the filming of this movie dragged on longer than they thought. And they had to send the Rangers back to U.S. to start filming the new season of the show. But they couldn't do that because they're all here filming the movie. So they started filming the show in Australia as well.
Oh, right.
Because of this. Also, my ex-girlfriend crazily jumped into Darling Harbor to profess her love for me. That's how I knew what it was. I was like, I know where this is. Is that? And I Googled it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Darling Harbor. Also, no one showed up for... no one would show up. They didn't want to pay for extras for the ending scene.
Right.
So they put in the newspaper a week before saying, come to Darling Harbor. The Power Rangers will be there for a fireworks show. So that's why all these families and kids showed up, and that's why at the end of the movie everyone's so celebrating and everything. They didn't want to pay for the extras, so they didn't have to pay people. They just paid for fireworks.
Damn.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had also read the same thing about the filming of this movie just dragging on so long. That's why in the TV show they just completely ignored the movie.
Yeah,
and
they
go
did.
with their own backstory because it was one of those things where it just dragged on so long.
Yeah, why they never did mention the movie in the show. It never happened. They'll never mention anything in the show. Yeah. They act like it never happened. So, whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
The show is better, I find.
Oh, yeah. So. I mean, what would there be? It's kind of self-contained. Ooze is...
Dead.
dead. I guess they've got the ninja powers after this and the Ninjazords, so that's
cool.
All they would have needed to really explain.
The frog.
Who wants to kick off?
Let's go to feedback. Forum.postwrestling.com. We do our Up Next every week, and that's where we post that. So we put up a Up Next movie review, and to our chagrin, our surprise, there's a lot of feedback. Apparently, people who listen to our show, us talk about wrestling, also like to hear us talk about Power Rangers, because we have a lot of that. So let's start into this. Red Raider 07. Hey, Davey. Gary from Texas here. I'll start by saying I was 10 when this movie came out, and I'm a huge Rangers fan, although it seemed like I was the only one because Power Rangers were for little kids, according to my 10-year-old peers, but that did not stop me. I watched it every day after school and played with all the toys. I had a blast mixing up all the toys and having the Power Rangers and the G.I. Joes fight monsters, Transformers, and evil Thundercats together. Suffice to say, I loved the movie this whole time, and I rewatched it randomly on HBO. A few things that held up to me. The soundtrack introduced me to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Van Halen. Yes.
The soundtrack's good to this film.
As a kid, I actually had the soundtrack because Red Hot Chili Peppers, the cover of Higher Ground, oh my god, banger. And Van Halen is amazing as well. The Ranger armor still looks cool and better than the CGI armor in the newer 2017 movie. Some of the fight scenes were good as they used a lot of practical effects in comparison to CGI. Ivan Ooze has a good scene-stealing villain with some funny lines. And Amy Jo Johnson is so cute, definitely my first crush.
Yep.
He's got 3 things that didn't hold up. CGI looks terrible, didn't look that good in 95, and looks awful today. Most of the Rangers were not good actors. Having bigger production values and new sets didn't do anything to hide that. And 3, the kid trying to save the adults was really annoying.
Yeah, I felt with that kid. It was
the weird kid?
It was almost like a setup, like
to be a villain or something.
Well, you know, at the end of The Last Jedi, spoilers, you have that kid who starts playing with the lightsaber right at the end, and it's like, oh, this is the next generation of.
That's that kid.
It felt like this kid is a Power Ranger of the future.
And you know what? They messed that up, and then when they made Turbo, that's what they do in that movie.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Isn't that what they do in the movie?
Yeah, they have the little kid playing the Ranger.
They have a little kid.
Right. Yeah. So
let's wait for that, because we'll probably review that again in the future.
We have Ventak from Mumbai here. Damn.
Wow.
Sorry for delayed feedback. You guys have already probably recorded this. No, you're perfectly in time. Back in 2000 or so, when I was 6, we had bought a CD player and gotten like 30 movies with it, like Home Alone, Dunstan Check-In, and the Power Rangers movie. Over the next 3 years, me and my siblings would have seen the Power Rangers movie at least 20 times. We would get the fake Power Ranger action figures out here and enact the movie scenes as the movie played and had tons of fun with it. It was his favourite movie at the time. So some points he has is the characters stood out to me way more than the 2017 remake. They actually seemed like they wanted to be in the movie, unlike the 2017 counterparts. Probably just looking at it wearing my 5-year-old me goggles. I thoroughly enjoyed Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze. Super freaked out by him in 2000. Laughing at his uber corniness in 2018. The scene where they fight the dinosaurs and the Minotaurs before they got their little bots was still pretty cool to watch. Kimberly was very cute. I think 6-year-old me thought she was pretty lame and was the weakest of the Rangers. Damn.
Thinking differently now, aren't you?
Are robotic frogs supposed to be terrifying? That seems a rather odd thing to be scared of. Sure, a bear and a wolf and birds can be scary, but a frog? Come on. The CGI was meh at best and bad at worst. The acting was not great, even though they had a decent budget of $15 million in 1995. It really wasn't great. All in all, 6-year-old me had a blast, and 24-year-old ironically had one too. Thanks for this nostalgia trip, guys, and I hope you had as much fun seeing the movie as I did.
Yeah, I mean, $15 million in 1995? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where do they fucking put all that money?
I don't know, going to Australia.
Yeah. And that all the cool stunts they did in the beginning that had to have taken up a good amount of
Imagine, they're like, hey, we got $15 million. All right, let's plan the beginning and the ending.
Completely irrelevant skydive.
You know they used a green screen for some of that, too.
Oh,
yeah. Andrew from Cape Breton. Wow. Oh, the Power Rangers. This movie came out when I was a kid. I was around 9. During that time, I had been huge into the Power Rangers show. I would rent the VHS tapes and I loved everything about the show when it came out. However, I definitely was one of the fans of the earlier Rangers who fell off pretty soon after the show started changing characters. Maybe today I could be more understanding of contract issues and changing looks of Rangers, but when they first got rid of Jason, Zach, and Trini, I lost interest. Funnily enough, it was only years later that I got racial implications of Zach and Trini being the Black and Yellow Rangers, respectively. To me, they were cool kids who I looked up to. Zach, for instance, seemed almost as equal to Jason, and Trini seemed to be the smart and brave one, whereas one time she helped Billy overcome his fear of heights. I consider the Red, Black, and Yellow Rangers in this movie to simply be pretenders. So sadly, this movie, probably my last gasp of fandom in the Rangers franchise. So I guess this is what this movie is for me. A part of my childhood gone because dumb contracts. After that, I only had people like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Razor Ramon to look up to, and even WWF replaced them with fake Razor Ramones because of contracts. Guess I gotta change the channel to see those people.
It's interesting. I was looking up reviews saying about the racial implications,
Right.
and this, I feel, is like something you wouldn't read anymore. So Empire, like I've always read Empire. I'm a big fan of their reviews and things. Their review at the time, like the headline was 6 multi-ethnic superheroes battle the evil ooze. Like, that's something you wouldn't hear today. They wouldn't comment that it's a group of multi-ethnic teenagers or whatever. It's just a bunch of kids. Like,
have you ever seen Zordon's Racist?
Sorry, what's that?
Have you ever seen Zordon's Racist? It's
Is it a YouTube?
Stupid humor. What's the...
College humor?
College humor,
Right.
maybe? Or Funny or Die?
Right.
Basically, Zordon makes the Red Ranger a Native American.
Right.
Black Ranger black. Yellow Ranger Asian.
Yeah.
Girl pink. And they're all like, what the fuck, dude? It's really funny. Check it out.
Scrump, do you have feedback up as well?
Yep. I can read the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Tom R. says, I remember the epicness of this movie kind of ruining the regular series for me. My cousin, 1 year my junior, had all the new Zords almost as soon as the movie came out, and I was pretty envious of him. I didn't like the music in this film at first, but it grew on me. At first, I was like, come on. But then I was like, and take a free ride. This movie gets 4.7 Power Rangers as regular teens having fun montages out of 5. You know, I will say I kind of feel his pain with the Zords, because my parents would not, they would get me a set of Zords every Christmas, but my next door neighbors were spoiled and had all of them, so it was one of those things where I would be like, where did you guys get these Zords? And they're just like, yeah, they're the new ones and I'm like, oh yeah, here I am with my
old
outdated Megazord, and they would always have all the new ones, all the brand new toys. So I definitely feel his pain with that.
I was like that with Transformers.
I had the original. I had all of the figures of the Rangers, and I had the original Zord and that blue dude. But my mate had Zordon's gaff and all that.
Damn.
He had everything all the time.
Damn.
Dave Parker. I watched this movie twice, once lit and the other sober, and by God, it was fucking incredible both times. Growing up, I frothed Power Rangers super hard. They were my big things after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I remember seeing the shorts for the film in cinemas during TV commercials and losing my mind. I'm pretty sure I saw it twice in cinemas and then a billion times on VHS after that. I haven't revisited it since, and your podcast brought up a great reason to watch it again. So thank you for the great trip down memory lane. I now live in Sydney, so it's pretty great to see all these spots from the film now on a daily basis. A few points. Vintage super kick spot on the Ooze minion. It's funny how the Red Ranger was the leader, but once the original left, he took such a big step back. Yeah, Rocky's barely in this film.
Yeah.
Ooze reminded me of a purple cowboy Woody Harrelson. Goldar saying to Ooze, "You think she's hot too?" Had me in stitches. It's weird how much little screen time the son and dad have, yet they get so over, and you pop for them when that dad sees his son at the end.
Weird dad.
Thanks again for the nostalgia vibes. This was a really solid time.
Wow.
Heart emoji.
Wow.
Thank
From
you.
Australia. We're getting a we have a multi-ethnic.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Wow. Andre from Edmonton. It still rhymes. I was 7 years old when this movie came out. I loved this movie when I was a kid. I was a huge fan of the show. Now I do enjoy this movie, but I prefer the Ninja Quest 3 partner from the TV show more than an arc on how they got their ninja powers. They had a way better mentor in the ninja than Dulcia from this movie. I love the armor costumes in the movie, but as I watch, I long for the cloth costumes from the TV series. The CGI at the time screams, look how much money we have now that the shows are made. Well, they should have spent that money on decent CGI. Overall, though, I had a great time looking back at this again and making me want to go on Netflix and watch the TV series. On another note, I have met 3 of the Power Rangers before. Aisha, Billy, and Amy Jo Johnson Kimberly. They were all awesome to meet, but Amy Jo was easily the best. She is arguably everyone's first crush, and I've gotten to see her on another great show on Flashpoint. Thanks for the great reviews, and please keep them up. You should review Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Yes, the CGI is shit. I've also was at a Comic-Con when I was working for the law, and we had catering. We were allowed to, because we were media. We had our own booth.
Right.
And our booth was beside Rocky and Zach.
Right.
They were traveling together. And my friend was like, I really want to like meet the Rangers. I was like, yeah, just like we're right beside them. Go over. So we went over and he started talking to them, and that was really cool. Me and my friend went to go to catering, and as we're there, this guy turns around and it's Billy. So we start hanging out and eating lunch with him. I'm like, this is great. So I hung out with all of them as well. I've hung out with Jason, and I think that's it. But it's pretty interesting because I'm sure people, like Scrump said, you go to like these Comic-Cons, they all there. They all go to them. So it's really weird because like, what are these people doing now with their lives? That's their job.
Well, honestly, a lot of them.
Stunts?
My agent back home represents a guy who's in 2, maybe 3 episodes of Doctor Who.
Okay.
He makes all his money traveling the world, going to conventions.
I would do that.
And like, these guys were in multiple episodes.
Sure.
He was in 3 episodes of Doctor Who and makes a living from just doing conventions.
Because you pay $20 for an autograph, $20 for a picture. Boom. I just made $40 off one person.
And then the convention pays to fly you out.
Yeah, so you must make money doing these things.
Now they have their own, it's called like Morphicon.
Yeah, Morphicon, Dragon Con, all these cons.
It's just Power Rangers. This one is strictly all just anyone who's ever done anything with Power Rangers. It's just them. So you know, it's cool if you go to, you know, your local one, you're like, oh, hey, I can see, you know, maybe 1 or 2 Rangers. But the appeal of, especially to people like us, if they're like, hey, we have everyone.
We have every single fucking Ranger ever.
Everyone's here.
Even there was a guy who slept with, who dated Kim Kardashian. He's one of the newer Power Rangers.
Really?
Like, before she got with Kanye, she was dating a Power Ranger.
I'm sure Kanye thinks he's a Power Ranger as well.
Right.
Scrump, do you want to go to Ari? We've got
Ari from Montreal,
Yep, sure. Ari from Montreal. All I can say is Ivan Ooze is the weirdest villain of my childhood. That being said, the movie has a great place in my heart. The scene where they are fighting the statues always gets my blood pumping, and I love their ninja costumes. Love these reviews. Keep up the great work. Montreal loves the BDE.
Everybody loves the BDE, baby.
We go to, apologies if I pronounce your name incorrectly here, Kwamshot from Singapore. He's a first-time, long-time...
Wait a second. We have a first-time, long-time from Singapore?
From Singapore.
You're telling me...
First-time, long-time.
Oh, long-time, first-time, long-time. Singapore?
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
My last ever feedback was back when Braden was still with Agnew, but have supported everything since the Law days. Chose this particular time to post because this movie means a lot to me.
Wow, I love it.
I have to say that Braden is really the Jason David Frank of all of this, being around in every installment of this podcast. I know this is not supposed to be a good movie, but I loved it since I was a kid. I'm 25, born in 93, and I was addicted to the movie, watching it almost every week when I was a child. We owned the LCD, remember those? Big-ass Laserdisc. I owned all the merchandise, including a whole White Ranger suit with the sword, and also the helmet with a built-in microphone thing.
Whoa.
Please say you still got that.
Wow.
Not proud to say this, but I still own the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers blanket.
What?
I'm never going to get rid of it.
What?
No, you shouldn't.
Fuck yeah.
Send it to me.
Short review. Best scene as a kid was definitely the construction site fight scene. All I wanted to do growing up was to do a flying sidekick and do handsprings instead of walking. Unfortunately, I learned about gravity soon after and knew it wasn't meant to be. And fun fact, this movie has inspired Shinsuke Nakamura and Daniel Bryan. Can't help but think AJ Styles would have PTSD flashback if he watched this movie. Quamshot signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, from Singapore. And you're listening to us.
Singapore and Mumbai and Sydney?
Wow, we're so multicultural on this show. Wow. Daniel Bryan and then Nakamura definitely watched this recently. We're like, why don't we just kick people in the balls? Yeah. Emergency. And I want a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers blanket.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I had a Jurassic Park 2 Lost World glow-in-the-dark dinosaur blanket.
Ooh.
And I told a girlfriend of this a few years ago, and she tried to find it on eBay, and like she was like, "Hey, I'm spoiling the gift, but like, was this the blanket you're talking about?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, I really like you and everything, but it's $300 now." So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't need this blanket. Yeah. But someone help me find this Lost World Jurassic Park blanket. Is this my turn?
Yeah.
Nick from Tempe, Arizona. Wow, look at us all over the world. I was such a huge Power Rangers fan growing up. I remember this movie coming out, and one of the ways to get a first look at the footage was a release of the music video Trouble by Shampoo. It debuted during an animation block of Fox during a new episode of The Simpsons. Wow, it's used in this movie. So, again, I had this... We're in trouble. That's the song.
Yeah. I remember I used to watch Power Rangers on GMTV.
Okay.
On ITV in the UK.
Right.
And in the summer, they did like longer episodes of GMTV because you weren't at school.
Sure.
And they did, they'd show an episode of Power Rangers, and during the break, they'd like go to a beach or something and where Mr. Motivator's doing stuff and whatever. And Shampoo debuted this song in the middle and did it live in inverted commas.
We're in trouble.
I remember this song very vividly.
Oh my god, yeah. Scrump.
Yep.
Your turn.
We're going to do Daniel.
Daniel! To cut you off, Daniel makes 8-bit music. And he did the theme song that we used to begin this podcast and to end this podcast. It is a 8-bit version of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme. He did one when we did the Halloween review, and he said, "Hey, I'll make some things for you, whatever." So, Daniel, thank you very much. I'm blanking on his stage name. I think it's... I'll get back to it after you read his feedback.
Daniel from Brooklyn. Sometimes, long time. There's evidence that resistance to Ivan Ooze's plan was futile. Once they were brainwashed, the parents' apathy was leading them straight to perdition. Thank goodness the Rangers were able to get the ninja power flow and save the day. Is it possible Ivan Ooze himself wrote the current NXT theme song?
Oh.
I come forth with a vengeance, escaping my death sentence. True rebel, and I care not if I offend you with my presence. Seeker of my own path, inventor of my own math. Those waiting to destroy me will die slowly in a bloodbath.
Damn.
I'm escaping my death sentence. It's the same thing.
I want to see Ivan Ooze sing it now. We have...
Also, his Daniel is betaclubfieldtrip.bandcamp.com. Check out all his stuff. He's really cool. Thank you, Daniel. I love you.
We have Anthony from Melbourne. I believe I was 4 when this came out, and I don't think I could have been any more excited. As a lifelong fan, this movie was amazing to me. The departure from the usual uniforms was something I didn't understand at the time, but also thought was really cool. As a small child, I just loved seeing Tommy kick ass, not realizing he was not in the spandex in the TV show, and it was, in fact, a mishmash of Japanese and US shot footage. That being said, the movie was enjoyable, and for nostalgic reasons, I own the Blu-ray and the first 4 seasons of the TV show on DVD.
I have the series on DVD, yeah.
Having recently watched the 20th anniversary season with my little brother, who I introduced to the franchise, I can say, despite the corniness of the show, it still holds up significantly better than any of the new seasons. It is especially better compared to the very disappointing 2017 remake, which was supposed to have multiple sequels until the Hasbro acquisition. In terms of the film's storyline, although I really enjoyed Ivan Ooze as a villain, I prefer the canon multi-part TV show storyline for the Rangers to obtain their ninja powers instead. Introducing Rita Revolta was a great long-term character I always liked. I think because of his comedic element and having the villains actually developing a decent plan and beating the Power Rangers. This was a welcome departure, even as a small child, from their formulaic no-suit putty fight, morphin time monster fight, climax to the Zord fight, and victory. Although I still may have cried when it happened and Kimberly had to be held back as the Zords fell apart. Embarrassed emoji. But fuck, she was hot.
Yeah, apparently people like the ninja...
The TV art.
Yeah. Which I'm remembering now. I have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the whole series. And I know my friend Shane has this box set of Power Rangers shit. Maybe Scrump has it. Scrump, do you have it too? It's like this mask. I think it's the White Ranger mask or the Green Ranger mask, and you open it and it's got all the DVDs or Blu-rays. Or
no,
I only have them on VHS.
I'm familiar with it. I don't own it myself, but I definitely have seen it. I know which one you're talking about.
I have the Turtles van, which is the van, the toy, and then you open it and it's got all this whole series, the cartoon.
Nice.
But I don't have the Rangers one. I don't think I have enough time in my life to go back and watch all of it.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much Power Rangers. But yeah, he's right. I do think a lot of people like the show more than the movie, but the movie is it's the same and different at the same time. It's interesting. Is this our last one?
This is our last one, yeah.
Charles in Louisiana. Holy shit, brubs. It's been so long. I forgot how to use your feedback site. He says, I still own my 95 VHS tape of this movie that I received when I was 6. As a kid, I didn't like the movie version of their suits. I understood that it was supposed to be a more realistic, battle-suited version, but more than the spandex, but I found it to be unfamiliar. That being said, I can't shit on the movie because Power Rangers was my #1 interest as a kid, so I'll look through it with rose-colored glasses. Did you guys know that Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, reprised his role 25 years later during an episode of the most recent incarnation? I think that's what the guy was just talking about in the last read back there. Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Apparently, he now has something called a Master Morpher, which allows him to access all of his previous powers because, of course, Tommy has to be OP as fuck. That sums up Power Rangers perfectly. It's absurd, corny, action-packed, and I love it. P.S. You guys should review the recently released graphic novel, Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon. It's a post-modern, middle-aged Tommy trying to get one last hurrah while trying to rescue someone very dear to him. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, Charles has been messaging me a fair bit about different Power Rangers comics.
Yeah, there's these side arcs of all these characters. Like, what if this happened here and what if this happened here kind of thing. So it looks really cool.
Jason David Frank actually posted up a video either today or yesterday, but apparently there's some sort of DC versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic that he was advertising or something.
Oh my god.
Which that kind of strikes me as weird and odd, but not something that I would be surprised, since DC just seems to just throw things at the wall just to see what sticks.
Yeah. I feel like people would buy that. I feel like anything retro kind of ties in with whatever. And I know Jason David Frank shows up in a lot of indie films, fan-made Power Ranger films.
Right.
Like the Batman versus Predator, where it's Power Ranger versus this guy and shit like that. And also, there's the Ninja Turtles teaming with the Power Rangers. Remember when that happened? Years later? That was always crazy. That was the biggest... That was before Avengers Infinity War. It's no. The Turtles and the Rangers together? What the fuck?
Speaking of Avengers Infinity War, you guys have seen that trailer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Are the Power Rangers in that?
Oh, God. I hope.
Did you cry?
That's how they beat Thanos.
It'll be Tommy, won't it? Tommy Oliver saves the day.
Hi-ya! And then they'll go, yeah, we did it, yeah!
And then a big firework display in Australia to finish it off. Maybe
Captain America will low blow Thanos, and that's how they win.
Into a comet.
Into a comet. Well, that's it. That's the Power Rangers review. We did it.
We did it.
Hi-ya!
Yeah.
Make my monsters grow. Thank you, Scrump, for joining us. I believe in the new year we have to do Power Rangers Turbo.
We'll probably do Turbo, yeah.
So we'll have you back.
But next we'll open up the feedback tomorrow for which
should we do? Santa's Sleigh or National Lampoon?
Let's do National Lampoon.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is our next movie
We'll
review.
be doing that with there's also a short 20-minute movie called The Snowman. It's on YouTube. It's a silent animated movie. So please leave feedback for both of them. We'll be opening feedback as this is released. It'll be later today.
Yes.
So get watching. We'll probably get that up in the next week or so.
Thank you for everyone. This all was just because me and you started talking about Power Rangers one day on
during
the
NXT.
Yeah, during an NXT podcast, and it's a lot of people wanted to hear us do it. So we will definitely do more Power Rangers stuff down the line, whether it be the show too or whatever. And I know Scrump, you're a huge nerd too. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm always down to record those. I mean, especially with I actually own Turbo, so I won't have to look for some,
dodgy site
version online.
Yeah, of course you do. You own Turbo, but not the original. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I had the original one. I don't know where it went.
Fucking stole it.
It was one of those things where, I mean, when I moved, it got lost in the shuffle.
An ex stole
it too.
An ex stole it from you. Scrump, how can the fine people find you? Because me and you became friends online because the internet is a crazy place. And then we traveled to Chicago for All In, the wrestling event, and we met you, and then now we've become like best friends. So the internet is a crazy place.
As a lot of people know, I recently just drove up to see you guys for no other reason than I had a free weekend.
You just wanted to meet some Canadian girls.
And you christened the Scrump room.
You christened the back spare room that we have that David calls the Scrump room because
the Scrump room. I love it.
Those Halloween decorations are still up.
Those Halloween decorations have to just stay up yearly.
Yeah, all right. We will definitely keep them up there for you. We'll come visit and we'll do another review soon.
Yeah, I mean, Survivor Series weekend is here
in Chicago. Survivor Series. That's like a year away.
We'll see you before that.
Yeah, come to our UpNXT takeover tailgate in the summer.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be there. I wish I could make it there for the Christmas party.
I invited him to the Christmas party.
I hear you guys are gonna have some sort of Valentine's Day ball at your house, so I'm gonna make it there.
Yeah, definitely.
Every holiday.
Every holiday we're gonna have a party at the BDE. So where can the fine people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Scrump_1. That's SCRUMP_1. On Instagram at CM_Scrump. And if any of you guys are listening this or Friday the 14th, I work closely with this independent wrestling company here in Chicago called Freelance. That's where I made my debut as a penis druid.
Yeah, that's right. And, you are a penis druid.
Yeah, I was one of Joey Ryan's penis druids at All In,
yeah.
And I actually won my debut match at Freelance Wrestling dressed in the penis druid costume, which was so hard to keep, especially from you and Davey. Yeah, so hard, no pun intended, to keep from like everyone because I just didn't want to tell anyone. I specifically remember sending the video to you guys at like 2-3 in the morning just because I was like, I'm so excited to show someone.
Dick.
Yeah, but so we've got a show. Too Legit to Quit on the 14th of this month.
Sweet.
That you can watch live on Powerbomb TV. If you guys use the promo code Freelance, you get like a free 20-day trial. So you can watch the show. You can watch past shows. You can watch my debut. So
excellent.
If you guys want to check that out, you can check me out winning my debut match dressed as a penis druid.
Wow.
On the Halloween show. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
You don't just wear the costume all year round?
So I need
you
to get
broke
myself a new one. Yeah, I broke it. I explained to you. I brought it with me on the Jericho cruise, which, got a big pop from everyone.
Did.
Papa Buck stopped me in the middle of a hallway to tell me about the penis dreads at All In, and I was like, sir, I was one of the penis dreads at All In. But I was wearing the costume. It was different from the one that I had at All In, and
you broke it.
I broke it. I was standing off like in the VIP section essentially, and DDP came up to me. Yeah, very important penis. DDP came up to me, said something. I couldn't hear in the costume. I assume he said your dick is in the way. And trying to get out of the costume, it just ripped. And I was like, it's fine. I want to get a new one anyway. Something that says like I was the penis druid from All In. Because a lot of people would come up to me and they were like, "Hey, do you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me, guys."
Hey, you're in a penis costume.
You should make a T-shirt that fits over the penis costume with a picture of you as the penis
from All In, with the date.
See, now we know that'll be the next.
If only you worked at like a T-shirt store or something that could hook that up for you.
Do you guys know any custom T-shirt places located in Chicago?
ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yeah.
1 hour tees. They'll help you out.
Great. I'll check those guys out.
Yeah, check them out. Your penis costume is like your morph suit. Like that's your Power Ranger costume.
That's your spirit animal.
Your spirit animal.
Yeah, that's my.
It's a dick. You're not the White Ranger. You're like the Mexican Dick Ranger.
But as we've learned, you're very susceptible to be defeated by the Megazords, because they do have a dick kick button.
Oh god, yeah. I got to pray they don't hit that emergency button or I'm fucked.
Wow.
Well, Scrump, it's been lovely talking to you. We'll make sure we check out that show on Friday. And make sure you follow him, guys. We will have him back on the show.
Yeah, Scrump is definitely a big friend of this podcast. So anyone listening, Scrump is our man.
This year, I've made my debut at All In, my wrestling debut, but I'm the most excited that I'm making my post-wrestling debut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. And I know you're lying.
No, I promise. A lot of the guys here are like podcast nerds. So the fact that I was like, I'm going to be on Post Wrestling, nice. No biggie, was probably the same reaction to when I was like, I'm going to win a wrestling match dressed as a penis.
Postwrestling.com. Follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at @TheBrady.
I am at Davie Portman.
You can follow us and let us know what movies we should review or other childhood retro things you want us to review for our feed. Follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, everywhere you get us, the Post Wrestling upNXT feed. Subscribe, like us, review us, and thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. It's Morphin time. Hi-ya!
Ahoy!
How did you fare?
It couldn't have gone better.
Throw one of them off the mountains when they do a raging river.
All right.